Well, everyone's starting to join in, and welcome to Visionary Women, everybody. We have such an exciting program for you today. I'm so thrilled and so honored to have a very special guest and segment. We have a member spotlight and the Women in Power series with the Honorable Lili Bosse, Vice Mayor of Beverly Hills, 2 times Mayor of Beverly Hills, and Visionary Women co-founder. And I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here with us today, Lili. Thank you.
Thank you, Piera. And I am overwhelmed to be here, and especially to be sharing this with you. I have to say that you are truly one of my sheroes. You exude such beauty and such light and such goodness. And my heart feels so full right now and so overwhelmed that I get to share this with you and all the amazing people that are sharing this hour with us. I'm truly grateful, but especially grateful to do this with you.
I'm truly honored, Lili, and inspired by you. You are one of my all-time favorite women leaders. And I'm just so delighted that we have so many people tuning in. I just want to let everyone know who's joining us that we are Visionary Women, and Visionary Women is a unique nonprofit organization. We are membership-based. We raise funds for high-impact initiatives to empower women and girls worldwide, locally and globally. And we are using the power of our connectedness to create massive change in the world. And Lili Bosse, you are one of our co-founders, and we are just absolutely thrilled that you're doing this membership spotlight with us. We know how busy you are. You have a lot going on with the city, and you've taken your time out with us today for this hour. So thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited to do this.
Well, before we begin, I want to just share that a lot of people know you publicly, Lili, by the work that you do for the city of Beverly Hills, for your philanthropy and for your activism. Not as many people know you as personally. And so today I'm really delighted because we're going to dive right into what makes you you and what inspires you and what ignites your passion for creating. But before we do that, I just wanted to start off with a quote I found in LA Style magazine. It says, Lili Bosse is a bold, kind voice of her community. Her presence, her generosity as a human being who sees other humans is profound. She is an intentional leader who has used her story to bring strength and support others. And I know we all agree with this, Lili. You are known for being one of the most beloved civic leaders in the history of Beverly Hills. And you're making a huge impact, not only for the city, but in all the organizations you're involved with. So thank you, thank you. First question is, did you always know that you wanted to be a civic leader and get involved in civic engagement?
Thanks, Piera. As you and I were talking before we officially opened, I was sharing with you that I actually feel very, very nervous today and very emotional, as you probably could tell in my voice, because as I'm sitting here, all I could think about is the only reason why I'm sitting here is because of so many people that have been by my side. Whether it's Visionary Women and my co-founder, my best friend Angela, and all the amazing women that are on our board to make it happen, or even in the city, everything that I have done has never been me. It's been with a group of incredible people who had a shared vision together. So, when I think about myself, I wasn't that girl that was, oh, I know that one day I want to be an elected official, or I know one day I want to be the mayor of a city. That wasn't me. But I think what I always knew and what was always really the fiber of who I am was I've always loved connection. I've always loved people. I've always been somebody that's not judgmental. I've always been drawn to intimacy and creating an extended family. So even though I didn't know that my road would take me to where I am now, the one thing that has been a constant thread for me is, the sense that I really love connection. I love challenge. I actually walk into challenge. I like to try new things, recognizing that some of the things that we'll try might not work. But I never knew that I would be where I am today, but I always knew that I wanted to share my life and my road with other people and do it together. So that part I knew, but I never knew in my wildest dreams that I would be where I am today. Not at all.
It's so interesting, Lili, and it's so inspiring because so many people really, when they think about who they want to be when they grow up or their life trajectory, there tends to be these moments that sort of set them on a path, and I think that for you, the touch point is all about love, connectedness, inspiration, and it's just brought you to this place of wanting to make a difference in the lives of other people, and it's taken the shape of leadership in so many ways. But before we dive into all the good personal stuff, and I really am excited because this really is about you and your heart and what makes you inspired to lead the way you do. But I wanted to share, for those that don't know, some of your civic accomplishments because they are many and they are unique. You started the Healthy City Initiative, and the motto for this is healthy people, healthy business, and healthy government. You launched the Bold Initiative, which is the Beverly Hills Open Later Days to make more time for shoppers during the holidays. And it really, really stimulated the nightlife in Beverly Hills and became quite a big deal. You do walk with the mayor, bike with the mayor, meditate with the mayor. You had Deepak Chopra come, and you're really, truly so unique in your approach to connecting with people in leadership. A lot of times, people would feel that someone in leadership or in your position would want to hide behind closed doors and not engage with the public, but here you are doing exactly the opposite. And you're known for your connection and connectedness, and even known to be giving out your email or your number.
Everybody gets my cell phone. And I always tell people, and I mean it, that they can reach me 24/7. I've had people reach out to me at 1:30 in the morning, and I'm up to talk about something that's on their mind. And I've always been that way. I've given everybody my cell phone. I will always call people back if they email me. I had used social media the first time I ran about 10 years ago, when at that time nobody was using social media, but I wanted a way to connect with people and for people to connect with me. I think, part of it is definitely my personal story. I've shared with many people that, I'm an only child. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and I've always really yearned and loved a sense of community and an extended family. So for me, I think it really was a way to create a sense of community by connecting with people. And, I would always tell people when they would give me their hand to shake, I'd say, I'm a hugger, and I'd go give people a hug. So that was actually among the hardest parts for me this past year during COVID, was not being able to hug people. So I'm glad that soon we're going to be able to hug again, because that was the one thing that was really, really hard for me, is that sense of physical intimacy and the sense of being around people. So that's definitely my personality. I love the connectedness. And I'm definitely not somebody that wants to hide behind closed doors, which was what Walk with the Mayor was. It was the absolute opposite. I wanted people to know that every Monday they could find me, they know where I am, without handlers, without meeting behind closed doors. Come and talk to me about whatever's on your mind, and we'll solve it.
And this is really has become part of your signature style, which I love. And now that the world's opening back up, I know that people are really looking forward to connecting in person again. I want to go back to something you said about your upbringing with your family. I had the great pleasure of watching the special program you did with the Holocaust Museum here in Los Angeles. And you spoke about your mother and her mottos. But one of the things that you mentioned to me that I really loved was that there was somebody special in your mother's story, a mayor who helped save her life. And I don't know when this thread connected to your path, but I was really touched and moved and sort of blown away that, you know, your mom's life was saved in part by a mayor, and here you are today, mayor, vice mayor of Beverly Hills, 2 times mayor, and serving your community and changing lives.
Yeah, that was a very powerful moment, I have to say, in my life, where my mom, you know, as a Holocaust survivor of Auschwitz, she was saved initially because her close friend was the daughter of the mayor of her small town, and they had given her false papers. And that's how she initially survived the war, because she was given papers saying that she was a Gentile. You know, fast forward to many years later, where, you know, my parents moved to Beverly Hills to provide for the American dream for their only child. And she got to see, you know, her daughter become mayor of the city that, you know, was the American dream. She passed away before the entire year of my mayor term, but she did get to see it. And that, for me, was a very full circle karmic moment, I believe, that she survived because of a mayor, and that later on in life, before she passed, she got to see her daughter become the mayor. And it was something she was very proud of. You know, whenever newspapers would write stories about me or whatever, she would keep the articles in her bed with her. She would carry it with her wherever she was. It would be in her purse, and she would show it to people. And even in the last year of her life, she had been in and out of the ICU at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. And I remember when she was at the ICU, she asked me to turn on channel 10 in the ICU, which was the cable channel where the city council meetings were always, you know, shown. So she definitely was always cheering me on. But I think the element of the, you know, full circle was a very powerful moment. And it didn't even occur to me, actually, until the night that I became the mayor at that time.
Wow, it's such a moving story, and I love when dots connect like that in life. It's like a thread of destiny, and it's just so inspiring. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about where you get your sense of empowerment and self. I know that being a leader, you have to have a lot of confidence, and you have to have what it takes to lead others. Where do you get this? To what do you attribute your sense of, you know, your root of confidence and strong sense of self?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, Pierre, you know, not every day can you feel confident. You know, some days are really hard and challenging. For example, this last year was definitely the hardest year of my life. You know, short of the times that I lost my parents, being in political office during the COVID year was beyond hard. Dealing with a health pandemic, dealing with, you know, the protests and the division that we saw globally, the financial issues, the health issues, and there really was no guidebook or no, you know, rule book. And definitely there were days and minutes in each day that were excruciatingly difficult. And, you know, wondering, am I doing the right thing? Because we had no idea what we were doing. We were just trying to make sure that we were keeping everybody healthy and everybody safe, and keeping, you know, our city alive as much as possible. As you said earlier, my passion is to have a very thriving, vibrant community, build the business community, build the residential community. And for me to actually vote to shut everything down, to tell everyone to stay home and to stay apart from each other was the antithesis of my soul. So that was hard. But I do think my nature is to be an optimist. That is just my essence. And I'm also a very spiritual person. And I very much believe that you can manifest what you believe and what you see. And, I think, everybody at City Hall knows my motto is we start with yes, figure out how, and we get it done. Having my mom, who is a very strong woman, every day of my life, she told me to never give up, never give up. So I think I have that sense of perseverance and work ethic. But I think it's coupled with having a very strong spiritual sense of, I see it in my mind's eye as it's already done. And in my mind's eye, I already see it. And then I think because of that, like the positive energy and, going after something and basically not letting go, not taking no for an answer, helps make it happen. But more importantly, as I said earlier, it's about surrounding yourself with amazing people, surrounding yourself with people who equally want to lift each other up and empower each other. And I think I've been very blessed in that way, whether it's been in my city work that I've done, or certainly here at Visionary Women. Truly the most incredible women are part of this organization. And what I love about it is we all have our different personalities, we all have our different strengths. And by that, it makes us even more powerful and strong. So I think it's really also about surrounding yourself with some badass people who are, also open-hearted, open-minded, passionate, and, really root for each other. And that's what we do, in our organization. That's what I feel lucky about, even with my, my colleagues. I'm the only woman on the city council, but I have to tell you, my colleagues, who are men are very supportive, and, we all lift each other up. So I think it's partly me, but mostly it's the people that are around me.
I also believe that like attracts like. And, when you're on this certain vibration of positivity, you attract positive people into your sphere. I know a little bit of the backstory of how Visionary Women was birthed. Because I know Angela Nazarian, your very best friend, but I would love for you to share what the impetus was for creating Visionary Women, launching it. What was really the force behind this? And I also want to say you are both activists in your own right. You're both very powerful women. So when you get together, magic happens, and everybody feels it and sees it. But share with us how Visionary Women came to be.
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, Angela, she is absolutely the most incredible woman that anybody could ever know. And probably 90% of the women that's involved with Visionary Women somehow have a road to Angela, because she's, I always call her the alchemist, that whatever she does, she just creates magic. But her and I were having lunch one day, and we were talking, and she was also involved in another women's organization, which was not a 501c3, but she was doing, she has spent so much of her life giving back for women. She was a professor, did women's classes. So she is a girl's girl, a woman's woman. I mean, to the point that when she had, her birthday party, she had to have 2 huge parties because she has so many friends. And I'm not exaggerating. But we were talking, and she was saying that she would love to have an organization for women, with women, to empower women, but do a 501c3 as opposed to what she was doing. And I said, that's exactly my dream. That's exactly what I know I need from my soul, because in the world of politics that I live in, I'm just surrounded mostly by men. And I firmly believe that women do things differently. I think we use our intuition. We use a different part of our brains, a different part of our soul. And I think even with COVID, they're saying that the best countries have been during COVID have been led by women. So I think when Angela and I were talking, and she said that she had this dream of creating this incredible organization and doing something like that, it was like, I want to do this with you. And let's take this to a national level, a global level. And that's what's happened. But it's with her as this, to me, she's the nucleus. But when you look at our president and the presidents we've had before, and our executive board, and all of our members and the women that come to our events, they're all the most amazing women. When we were having our in-person events, everybody said, I just love these women. You know how you feel when you're around somebody, and when you leave them, you want more. You feel energized. You feel like you can conquer the world. And that's what I feel that Visionary Women has done, is that, like you said earlier, like attracts like. The women that are drawn to this organization are all women who support each other, who want to make a difference in the lives of women and girls. And they really want to help each other be their best that they can be. And I think that's what we do. I think we just hold up a mirror to each other, because we can see in each other's soul what we're capable of, and we do it together. So I'll never forget that day when Angela and I thought about doing it. And now, we've grown, this organization has grown where we've raised over $2.5 million in a very short time. We've had the most incredible, we just had amazing summit for International Women's Day, where we had thousands of people throughout the world. I think it was like 37 countries that participated. So, but in my mind, this is just the beginning. So we're on a trajectory that the sky's the limit. And I just feel really honored.
It's the seeds of greatness. And I remember I was involved when we first began. It's just sort of in the background in very small ways. But I remember when there was 12 members, and it was just starting to breathe. And here we are, we have a huge community. We have these incredible A-list, top of the line speakers. And it's happened so quickly. Just the transformation from starting so small and growing this quickly. And also, with COVID and the way the world has been affected by the pandemic, I actually have seen that we've grown to include women from all over the country, and even in different countries, which is really kind of inspiring, that even in a pandemic, we are growing. Even in a pandemic, we are expanding our borders. We are expanding our reach. We just, as you said, we came off of the most incredible International Women's Day Summit. And I know this is just the beginning. So I'm so inspired by what you have created, what the Visionary Women Board has created. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it. It gives me so much life.
As you are, everybody who's watching, I can assure you, is feeling the same thing about you as I do. You just exude such goodness and light and positivity. And I think that is why we have grown, and we've had the most incredible, trailblazing, kick-ass women, from Gloria Steinem that we had, Jane Fonda, Madeleine Albright, Condoleezza Rice. We've had true trailblazers. And I think part of it, as we said earlier, is, I think we all empower each other. And I also believe that, there's nothing, in my opinion, that we can't do. There is nothing that we women together cannot achieve. And I think if you start with that premise, then that means anybody that you want to be a speaker will ultimately say yes, because, I just feel that we are creating such a great positive environment where we could make change together, that, there's only positive things ahead.
It's incredible. It's inspiring. I just want to ask if anybody has their phone or camera unmuted. We're hearing a lot of dings, but we also know that that's a good thing. That means exciting things are happening, but if you recognize that your camera is not muted, please mute yourself. You know, I'm just absolutely blown away by what women can do when they're of the same mind and heart. And I want to go back to you and your leadership style, because you are very rare and unique. And, you know, it's your energy, it's your zest. A lot of people have big ideas, but when things get tough or the vision gets too big, they get tired, they get worn out. I mean, how do you keep your cup full and recharge? And do you have any advice for leaders who are approaching burnout, especially now, you know, with everything that's been going on this past year?
Yeah, I think, first of all, as I said earlier, my personality is I actually really love a challenge.
Mhm.
I love trying things that have never been done. I'm not somebody that wants to do something that has been done year after year. So I think my personality is such that I want to be bold. I want to take a chance at trying something that's so out of the box that might work or might not. So for me, the harder something is, the more energy I get, which I know is crazy. But I think the other part of it is it really gives me energy to try things that haven't been done before. I find it inspiring. I find it exciting. Uh, but again, as I said earlier, it really is only exciting and fun is if you can create a community of people that want to do it with you. All the things that you had shared, whether it was Bold or Walk with the Mayor or the success of Visionary Women, it's only been because there have been amazing people who have a shared dream and a shared vision to make it happen. I don't think it's possible for anybody to lead and create something wonderful on their own. You have to have people who see it as well. And I also think, as I said, even with Visionary Women and looking at our amazing board that we have, we're all very different in terms of how, what our careers are, our personalities are, our life experience. But because of that, we all bring something to the table. We all bring something to the tapestry to create the change. So, I think that's a part of it is if as long as you surround yourself with great people that have that sense of an openness to try and do it together, then, I don't get burned out. It actually gives me the energy. Being involved with Visionary Women actually gives me the energy and the strength for days. We have council meetings. We've had, that literally, we start at 2 p.m. and we've had meetings that go till 2 in the next morning or 3 a.m. And it's being surrounded by amazing people that give me the strength and the energy to do all of that. So I think it's the opposite. I think if you're around people that inspire you, you get more energy and
Get charged up.
you really, really do. So
So
I would say my advice would be is to find people who have vision, who root for you, who you root for, and that really are willing to do the work. You have to have a work ethic. You have to, nothing comes easy. Everything that we've done for Visionary Women or what I've done in the city has required a lot of work. But that to me is what makes it fun, because when it's a success, then you feel this great sense of, all that work, and it was so worth it.
that's definitely something I want to touch on, because the issue of work and hard work and just having that work ethic. I watched on your website, there's a couple videos that focus on the state of the city. Both were during your term as mayor, and you're giving the report of all the things that are going on, that have been accomplished, that are in process, that are slated for the future. And I was really in awe of all the moving components, how many committees there are, commissions, how many different community organizations it takes to get something, from an idea to actually putting it in the books and working it out. And I started to really think about the power of connectedness. we are so much more connected than we realize in the cities that we live in the neighborhoods that we live in. Just as a community, there's so many things that intersect that we don't even realize. And it all takes a ton of hard work. I think a lot of people enjoy, enjoy wearing a crown, but they don't enjoy picking up a shovel and digging ditches. And I think some of the most incredible leaders are not afraid to put in the work. And when you meet a leader like you, Lili, and the women on the Visionary Women board, you realize that, first of all, great women are not afraid of work. Work is not a bad word.
That's
and
I love it.
It's soul enriching. And the other thing that you learn, or that I have learned, is that life is not about me, but it's about we. It's about us. It's about what we can build together when we join forces. And I really want to encourage and inspire anyone who's listening that feels disconnected from their community to get involved.
What you're talking about just reminded me, when I first came on the city council, the mayor, I mean, there was always this sense that we would, give a proclamation or give an award to somebody. And it was always the mayor would give it and would pick one council member to go up with them to give the award. And when I became mayor, I realized this is not about me and it's not about one council member. It's about all of us. And I brought the entire council down with me. And it was a sense of, it's a we. And anytime that I would speak at any event, or if I would have to, cut a ribbon or had to do anything, I would always bring all my colleagues, because to me, it's never about one person. It's about all of us. And it's a sense of community. And I really think that, to me, is why one has success. That, to me, is why Visionary Women has been successful. And even our city, for example, this past year, City Hall had been closed this whole time, and all of our meetings had been virtual because we weren't able to meet in person. We had more meetings virtually than we had back when we were meeting. In all the history of Beverly Hills, we had more meeting. And the council, the city staff, the community, I think worked harder than we've ever worked in our lives. But there was, even though we were all apart physically, there was a sense of community and sense of of really working together that I've never felt in all my years of being involved than I felt this past year. I mean, the city staff, which, I call our city family, literally, kept everything running smoothly, trash being picked up, water, keeping our police and our fire, keeping our first responders there for anybody who needs it. People really looking out for each other. There was a program that I had talked about when I was running this last time, called the Just in Case program, which was meant to be an emergency preparedness program for just in case there's an emergency. Literally, I had no idea that we would be facing, a global pandemic where just in case is more important than ever. But the community, the residents ran with it. And now we have block captains throughout our city. People know their neighbors. People know who lives on their block, who, never leaves their home because they're elderly and such. And it really brought a sense of togetherness and community during the tough times. And I think that's really where what somebody's made of. It's really easy when things are easy and great. It's when it's the most challenging times that you really see what somebody is made of. And I think our community really showed that. And as divisive as I feel that our nation was this past year, I'm hoping we're coming out of that. And I'm hoping that we find a way to come back together, because I think that, to me, was the hardest part of last year, was the divisiveness, was seeing people not be able to communicate heart to heart and soul to soul. And that, to me, really broke me. And I'm finally seeing a light that we can move past that.
I think what this nation wants and what our communities want is we want to heal together. I think a lot of people are experiencing what I might call pandemic, like post-traumatic stress, you know, and we're not quite out of it yet, but we will be soon, I believe. And, you know, there's gonna be a moment where people are either diving right back into life as it was, or it might be harder for some people. You know, there's been a lot of loss and a lot of change, but this is a perfect opportunity for us to come together and heal together as friends, communities, families, as a nation. It's really a moment that I've never seen in my lifetime. We just have this incredible opportunity. And I'm really excited about it. I'm excited because I think good things are on the way. I'm excited about this next generation that's coming up that is really more community focused, maybe than even mine. You know, I think that people really want to connect and they really want that feeling of belonging. You know, it's the sticky stuff of life, the connectedness. And this is what I wanted to ask you. What do you think the next generation needs in terms of leadership?
Well, I think specifically for women, um, and I think you had asked me that question in terms of confidence, is we need to believe in ourselves that we can do it, and we need to believe in each other. You know, I see that now, even, you know, with women and men that I know in the city, where men are really comfortable just asking for a raise and defining their worth, where women that I know have, you know, confide in me and they think, well, maybe that's asking too much, maybe I shouldn't, maybe. And I think that's part of it. And, you know, and I can tell you a personal story for me. I was thinking about that this morning when I was walking. You know, when I ran the first time and I won, and when I won every precinct. And at that time, nobody had ever won every precinct in our city. So it was a big win. And instead of feeling great and feeling like, wow, I won every precinct and isn't that great? I spent that first year of being in office always feeling that I wasn't good enough, always feeling that, you know, I counted how many people voted for me and I figured, okay, maybe, you know, I know 500 people and those are my friends, and all the other people voted for me because they believed in me, and I felt like I had to earn it and I had to prove myself, and that I wasn't worthy of it. So I overworked, and I think that to me was a part of whether it's a generational thing, whether it's a women issue, but I'm hoping that women now, and the next generation of women, you know, are looking. We now have a woman vice president. We now have hopefully women who are mentoring other women, but, you know, and are trusting in themselves more and telling their stories of, you know what, I didn't always feel confident. And I can tell you for myself, even in this role as a city council person, I feel that I'm a much better city council person now than when I first started. And part of that is because I'm much more comfortable in my own skin. And I don't feel that I have to prove myself as much as I did when I first got elected. So I'm hoping that the next generation trusts themselves more and trust each other and will be there to empower each other. Where, you know, sometimes you would see women really not being there for each other and viewing the other person as a competition. And, you know, that's also not my nature. I love when a woman is succeeding, and certainly somebody that I'm friends with, whether they're my best friend or just somebody I'm friends with, I'm the first person rooting for them and, you know, wanting to do anything I can to help them succeed. So I'm hoping that's the next generation, where the next generation feels a bit more secure in their own skin, and that they can surround themselves with other women who believe in them, and we can empower each other.
Yes, and build each other's confidence and
Exactly.
encourage one another to do great things. I heard you say in the State of the City recording something really interesting that I've been thinking about. You said that personal connections with key decision makers have big impacts. And to me, this goes back to confidence. Can you talk a little bit about what it means to be brave in this area? Because I think, and I don't think, I know that you're not afraid of thinking big and asking big, but this is not easy for a lot of people. And I think it really ties in beautifully with what you were just saying for the next generation. So can you speak to this at all?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, when BOLD came about in our city, it did stand for Beverly Hills Open Later Days, which was an initiative that we put together to try and create vibrancy and excitement at night, and nightlife, experiential, whether it's retail or having music on the street, restaurants open at night, just trying to create an exciting, vibrant community. And that, to me, was more about being bold, and bold to me is a state of mind. It's about risk taking and pushing yourself. So, I think for me, a lot of it, as I said earlier, is, kind of ingrained in me because I had a mom that always told me to never give up. And my spiritual part of me, that in my mind's eye, I visualize big. And I really do believe that anything is possible. I mean, when I first started, when I first was elected, 10 years ago, I would open up my arms and I would say, open arms to possibilities. That was my, my thing, where I just truly, with all of my being, believe that there really isn't anything that we can't achieve. And we can't get too disillusioned when things don't necessarily happen the way we wanted at our time frame. So, I think, for example, even with BOLD, my goal was, that our city would transform, that 7 nights a week, our city would be, it would be Europe. It would be open till 11 or 12 at night minimum, and the stores would be open, and it would be, vibrant and have that sense of excitement at night. But, we ended up compromising to 2 or 3 nights a week. So, I think part of it is recognizing that, maybe my big win, which is what I thought would be 7 nights a week, that wouldn't be it. But if we could get 2 or 3 nights where we could change, that's a win. So I think there's a sense of also adjusting your expectations, because one thing I was never good at was patience, where I would see something and I'd want it and expect it to happen right away. I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit better about that I recognize some things do take time. You have to have patience. One of my dream speakers is Brene Brown.
Yes.
To have for visionary women. I know we've been talking about Brene Brown, Glennon Doyle. We will have them. For example, Brene Brown is somebody I wanted involved with visionary women a few years ago. So it's about accepting, okay, maybe it didn't happen a few years ago, but she's going to happen soon. So it's about not getting too discouraged if your dream doesn't happen exactly at the time frame that you want. And, I guess I'm going to have to say what my mom always said, which is you just never give up. You just don't give up. You pivot, but you don't give up.
I love that. And it reminds me of a childhood phrase I used to hear a lot, which was seed time and harvest. There's seasons where you're planting and there's seasons when you're reaping, and you have to be willing to accept the season you're in. But one of the things that I love that you said is that you learned how to pivot and adjust. And, being a public official, and in that world, in that realm, you're constantly surrounded by people with different viewpoints. And one of the things that I admire so much about you is your grace towards different viewpoints, your openness. And you actually have said, I love to hear different opinions, different ideas. You love diversity. You are really open. You really want to see the best case scenario when it comes to leadership. You're not looking like, oh, it needs to happen this way, and I think that you're a wonderful example of a leader who who loves democracy, who loves different ideas and mindsets, and you really welcome individuality. And so that's just, you know, from my heart to yours, one of the most beautiful things about, you know, learning from a leader like you is just your grace with so many people of different viewpoints. And
But I have to
I
say,
hope the next generation is getting this, because I think people are picking sides like it's the Super Bowl. And you know what? It's not. It's human life. This is our planet. We share it. We're all so different. You know, no, I believe that every single person is unique, and as unique as your thumbprint. And we need to have less judgment and more openness.
and I have to say, you know, part of what you just said, first of all, I don't think, at least for me personally, I don't grow if I'm just talking to somebody who thinks the way I do. I might as well just talk to myself. So I grow and learn by surrounding myself with people who have a different life experience than I do, who have completely different views than I do. That's how I'm going to grow, number one. And number two, I think I actually seek out people in our community who I know feel differently than I do, whether it's politically, whether it's about an initiative that we're about to do, because I really do want to understand why they feel what they do. And I also like to try and see if we can find a common ground somewhere. And my experience has been almost 100% of the time. There's been maybe one or two incidences where this hasn't been the case, but most of the time, even people who we might be politically and political opposite spectrums and our views on something, but if we can sit down and truly listen to each other, not just hear each other, but
Yeah.
listen to each other, that more often than not, we're going to find a common thread somewhere.
Yes.
That's where I try to live with that person in that common thread and not have judgment towards them. And hopefully they won't have judgment towards me if they, you know, if we have a completely different perspective on something. Because if we find that one thread that we can agree on, you know, I think that's, you know, that to me makes all the difference. And even, you know, when I ran for office, I had a whole tent of people that I remember people saying, I can't even believe some of these people are in the same room together, because they generally were on polar opposites, fighting each other on different development projects or whatever. But I think it's about trying to find somewhere where we can agree with each other. And that is where I find that we, whether it's nationally, whether it's in our small community, whether it's in a one-on-one relationship with a friend, find somewhere that you can meet each other heart to heart with an open mind. And that to me is where change happens.
Well,
And beauty.
amen to that. It reminds me of the Rumi quote that I won't mess up, but you know it. It's like there's a field and I'll meet you there. It's like, you know, we can have so much distance and opposing viewpoints, but if we can find that place where we can be together, we really can do anything. And I think that's what community is about. It's not about sameness. It's not about sameness. It's about oneness. It's about unity. And if we can find ways to unify, we can really accomplish anything. So we have 10 minutes left. I'd love to leave some time to get some questions from the audience. If anyone wants to use the chat feature, we have a lot of viewers, and so we won't be able to answer all the questions, but I'm happy to review them and dive in. And then while I'm looking at questions here, Lili, I just finally have one question for you, which is, how do you want to be remembered?
I would probably say that I want to be remembered as somebody who loved and loved really big. Because that's who I am, is, you know, I'm just like a big love bug, and just somebody who loved big, loved with an open heart. That's number one. It's about connection.
That's beautiful. All right, we're getting questions. So Lili, this is from Diane Harrison. Lili, would you consider running for higher office?
Thank you, Diane. That's so sweet of you. No, but thank you for that offer. I have to say, quite honestly, first of all, last year was like a 10-year term. So I feel that last year literally felt like a 10-year term. So that's number one. But you know, I've shared this before. This is my last term in political office. I have loved this experience. I still have a lot more to do while I'm here. But I definitely think after this experience, I want to spend more time with visionary women and open to all kinds of possibilities. But I think in terms of the political arena, I feel like I've done everything that I want to do. And I do believe in terms of the next generation, I'm somebody that does believe in term limits. I'm somebody that does believe that we want the next generation to lead. And I also feel like I have other parts of my personality, of my soul, that I haven't been able to feed because this is really, what takes most of my time. And I want to be able to enjoy other parts of me. So we'll see what that'll be, but it won't be political office. But thank you for thinking of me that way.
It's a comment. Lili has a heart that radiates. She's an inspiration to so many. Can't wait to see what she has in store for everyone next.
Oh, thank you.
There's just so many beautiful comments here. One question is, what and how is your family involved in what you do? I don't know if that's a question, but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'll start with my husband. He has been my number one rock and supporter throughout this whole journey. I could not do what I do the way I do it if it wasn't for him, because he literally, his joke is, his name is "Where's Lili?" Because people go up to him and they don't say, "Hi, John." They walk up to him and they say, "Where's Lili?" So he's been totally supportive and, somebody who's very comfortable in his own skin, that, he just beams with excitement for me. My sons, Andrew and Adam, to be honest with you, they were not happy that I was running again, because they thought that it really consumes me. And they felt that I, don't have a great work-life balance. So they were not initially thrilled about it. This past year, though, they got to see me much more because I was home, and they have a new respect and admiration for me and this position, because they saw the level and intensity of issues that we had to bear this last year. So they've come around in supporting me of it. But to be honest, I think, they felt that they lost their mom, even though they're grown adults. They felt that because of my work ethic, that I didn't balance myself as well. And I think, I was forced to do a better job of balancing because I was home. And I'm hoping, I think as many of us did this past year, take some of the blessings that did come from this past year, some of the things that we realize now we want to do differently, because it forced us to evaluate ourselves, evaluate our life. And I think for me, I have done that. I'm finding, even for myself, that things that I normally would have said no to, and I'd say I'll do later because I had to work or whatever, I'm now saying yes to many more things that are for me that I would not have done before. And I think this past year helped me reframe that. But I have an amazing family. I feel very blessed with John and my two boys, and don't forget my dog Teddy.
Yeah, somebody says love to Teddy.
Yes.
Hi to the family. That's so cute. Also, Lili, I think it's so interesting that you're talking about feeding other parts of your soul and also expanding. There's some expansion there. When we say no to something, we're saying yes to
absolutely
either more of something else or creating the space for something new. And I have been really paying attention to some of the things even that you're doing with Visionary Women, and that Visionary Women is doing on its own. I noticed that we're we're getting partners now. We're partnering with organizations like Vital Voices and Acumen Fund, and that you have even joined the fellowship of Vital Voices. And I was hoping maybe you could just share just a little bit about what you're doing with that, or what they're doing.
And I love that you brought that up, because it speaks to women and confidence. Angela actually is the one who told me about Vital Voices. So once again, all roads lead.
All roads lead to Angela.
Yeah, there you go. There's the alchemist again at her work, and she's gonna, be totally embarrassed, but she's used to it with me. She had told me about it, and that's a perfect example where normally, if she had told me about this last year, I wouldn't have done it. I would have said, oh, I'm too busy. But this is the year of yes for me, so I'm like, I'm going to do it. When I was chosen, which was a huge honor, and they sent us the list of, the 33 women, and most of them are from all over the world. It's just, I think, 2 of us from the United States. The rest are from 33 other countries. And I saw these women and what they've accomplished and what they are doing. And I literally felt like a failure. That was a moment where I felt like, what am I doing here? I so am not in the league of these women whatsoever. And our first meeting that we had, the speaker was somebody who talks about the imposter syndrome. And what was great is all the women that are part of this program, and these are real kick-ass, amazing women. They all felt the same way that I did. They all felt like, I don't belong here. These women are much more, accomplished, smarter, doing more important things. And it really framed for me that we all as women have that same shared feeling that, we're not enough. What was also made me feel great was Elise Nelson, who runs Vital Voices, said that, of all the women leaders that they have, and one of them is Amanda Gorman, who also is a graduate of Vital Voices. She says all these women have in common, they all have felt like they're imposters. They all have felt that they weren't enough. And she said that she has not seen one true leader who walks in saying, you bet I'm great and you bet I'm a leader. So that made me feel a little better. But it's been, it's been only a few weeks, but it's been an incredible program. Our last session was with Mary Robinson, who was, the past president, and she was amazing and inspirational. And it's just great to be around women from all over the globe who, are doing just amazing things throughout wherever they're living. But what I'm finding is, even though we all have a completely different life experience and, from wherever we're living, I think there's just this common thread that I have found, that all of these women also have a strong sense of passion, a strong sense of not letting go and being, persistent, and none of them give up either. So I guess to me, the common thread is you don't give up, and, you just persevere. And especially when times are hard, like this past year, you surround yourself with a community of women who can lift each other up and empower each other.
And that's really what this is all about. I mean, even this talk today, we have, women tuning in from all over the country to hear your story, to hear about what inspires you because of you as a visionary, and just the light that you radiate. And Visionary Women is that place that so many can come to connect with. And I just want to encourage everyone, if you're not familiar with our organization, you've got to check it out. I mean, this is really happening. This is a very exciting movement. We're a membership community, but we're a movement of inspired women. And it's a great place to meet. Like for me, I mean, just, to know you, Lili, to know Angela, to know Shelley and Nina, and some of the incredible women on our board, and even some of the women that are just, in our leadership that I run into at events. It's life transforming. And I think everybody needs to find their tribe ASAP, get involved.
And I just want to add to that, Piera, it really is a true sisterhood. I mean, did I just lose you or?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Uh, what I love most about Visionary Women is, as I said earlier, in terms of feeling this sense of energy, this sense of you can achieve and do anything, it really, you feel that way with Visionary Women. You feel that way amongst the women that are involved with Visionary Women. It's everybody really roots for each other, and they're smart, they're kind, there's no judgment, there's just an open heartedness, and we're doing some pretty amazing things, and we have the most incredible speakers, and there's truly something for everyone. And we're making a difference. I mean, literally, when you think about in such a short time to have raised over $2 million and to really make an impact in the lives of women and girls globally, and to be around the most amazing women, there really is nothing better. So what gives me the energy and the excitement in everything that I do is being part of this organization. And I just hope that, the women that are on this today that haven't joined in, we're doing a lot right now virtually because we haven't been able, to meet, jump on in. I think our next event is June 3rd, where we're going to be talking about loneliness. And, especially this past year, we really have the most incredible speakers that I think, change you. So I'm hoping that people feel inspired and will, look into our organization and be part of our sisterhood, because you will be welcome with open arms, open heart, and a big hug from me as soon as I can hug.
It's my heartbeat too, and I'll give hugs too. I love this organization. It's so important to me. Before we close, I just wanted to direct everyone to the website, which is visionarywomen.com. You can learn about our membership. I also wanted to give a special shout out and thank you to Lisa Block and Anna Figueroa from the Beverly Hills Courier for publicizing this event. We've had a tremendous turnout. And we just want to thank you as women, woman to woman. Thank you for your support, and everybody that's tuned in. We just appreciate each one of you. And we know that together we can change the world and make the difference that we want to see. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Piera.
This is incredible. Thank you so much.
Lots of love. Mwah. And feel my hug, because I'm hugging really tight right now. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Thank you again.